Denny Hamlin may have found a new anchor sponsor, and there's a new number one on my power rankings this week. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Everyone is still talking about Barry's big win for the Wood brothers at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Barry, brothers, Bell, Byron. It's a good year to have B in your name. Drivers are taking note. Buescher seems to like where things are trending. Busch feels his time may be coming soon. And apparently there's a silent B in Carson Hocevar that nobody knew about until today. That's interesting. That's a bold strategy, Carson. The racing gods don't like being trifled with. It's an interesting video idea. Which B-name driver is likely to win next? We're racing at Homestead Miami Speedway this weekend. Last time we were here, Ryan Blaney almost got the win, lost it in the final corner. Alex Bowman has been knocking down top 10 after top 10 after top 10. Maybe he finally breaks through. Does Kyle Larson have a B somewhere in his name? I think he'll be fast this weekend. Anyway, let's get to some NASCAR news. Power rankings coming up in a few minutes. The number 11 car, driven by Denny Hamlin, lost two major sponsors at the end of last year. FedEx, who'd been with Denny for 2 decades, bowed out of the sport, and Mavis Tire, who had stepped up in recent years, also did not renew. That left a hauler-sized gap in Denny Hamlin's sponsor schedule for the 2025 season. Joe Gibbs Racing had been able to piece together some smaller deals. National Debt Relief stepped up for a few races. Recently, AMPM signed a 2-race deal. Kings Hawaiian moved over from RFK. But none of those sponsors would be classified as anchor deals like FedEx was, or to a lesser degree Mavis. Sport Clip seems to have stepped up a bit, but Joe Gibbs Racing was still looking to fill in a pretty huge gap. Adam Stern, Sports Business Journal, reports today that Progressive Insurance is likely pursuing a NASCAR team sponsorship deal, and Stern sources suggest Joe Gibbs Racing, the number 11, is their most likely target. I told y'all last week that I had heard Denny Hamlin may be sold out for the 2025 season. This must be the deal. Progressive Insurance is huge. That is a blue chip sponsor, major corporate brand. Can we get Denny Hamlin to star alongside Flo in a future TV commercial? Maybe, what's that guy's name? Jamie can be on the pit crew. Give him a jack, see if he can get the car off the ground. I can see the physical comedy. The commercial writes itself. Stern notes that Progressive Insurance was a top 5 spender on NASCAR TV commercials last year. Look at the other companies on this list. Toyota, Wendy's, Brestry, Ford. All those companies are involved with the teams either as sponsors or obviously as manufacturers. So it makes sense that Progressive would follow suit. And if you're scanning the Cup Series landscape, who's a high-profile driver who's missing an anchor sponsor? It's Denny Hamlin. It all adds up. It all makes sense. Get ready, Denny Hamlin fans. The blue number 11 may be hitting the track sometime in the not-so-distant future. Assuming this happens, it's a huge deal for Denny Hamlin, and it quiets a lot of the outside noise around Denny's future, especially if it's a multi-year commitment. Regardless, this proves Denny Hamlin is still attractive to, again, blue chip, major corporate sponsors. There seems to be this perception amongst some fans that because Denny Hamlin's race team, 2311, is actively suing the sanctioning body and is now being countersued, that Denny is now the black sheep of the garage. Can't touch Denny Hamlin with a 10-foot pole, and I don't buy that for a second. It may impact sponsorship deals at 2311. We know this offseason that when the team for a time did not have charters for this year, there were concerns over contracts, driver terms, etc., etc. But for Denny Hamlin, the driver, he still has a personal deal with Coca-Cola, who is one of the premier NASCAR partners. Doesn't seem to be any conflict there, so I don't subscribe to the idea that Denny Hamlin is now untouchable because he is part of this NASCAR lawsuit. I don't think that's true. I just think Denny Hamlin's expensive. And while he's still really, really good, it's arguable if he's still at the very top of his game. Hasn't been in the championship 4 since 2021? Yeah, went to 3 straight there at the end of the Gen 6, but hasn't been back since. Been very close, won a lot of races, but he commands an extremely high salary. Joe Gibbs Racing has to sell big sponsorship. I think that's the tougher hurdle to clear, not whatever off-track drama you may think he's embroiled in. I've said since the start of the offseason that Denny Hamlin is going to be very good this year, especially as NASCAR and Goodyear continue to promote softer tires, more grip, tire management races. I mean, Phoenix, with that extremely soft option tire, Denny Hamlin finished second. He's already really good at short flat tracks. Make them tire management races, he's elite still, even towards the end of his Cup Series career. So Denny Hamlin doesn't have a win yet. He's only 12th in points right now, been kind of inconsistent, but the way things are trending, even with the new crew chief, I think Denny Hamlin's going to have a really good year. I hope Progressive steps up in a big way, because if they sign a multi-year deal, for example, suddenly we're not talking about Denny Hamlin getting forced out of Joe Gibbs Racing, kind of like how Kyle Busch was. Instead, Denny Hamlin's future is very much in his own control, his own power. And I think that's a better story for a Hall of Fame worthy driver like Denny Hamlin. Anyway, that's our Denny Hamlin chatter for the week. Now it's time for power rankings. First traditional intermediate race of the season. I think we learned a whole lot. Some surprises as well. Let's rank the 10 fastest overall drivers and teams in the NASCAR Cup Series right here, right now. Quickly, some honorable mentions. This may surprise y'all, but Daniel Suarez was running top 10 at COTA when he spun and crashed, was running top 10 at Phoenix when he crashed into Catherine Legg, finished second at Las Vegas. The 99 car has good speed. They just need to finish. Daniel Suarez, my first honorable mention, his teammate Ross Chastain as well. 10th in the regular season points, just scored his first top 5 finish of the season, someone to watch. And one more Chevy driver, Kyle Busch. I like the speed we've seen overall, 3 top 10 finishes, but pit road woes cost them at Las Vegas. Disappointing for sure. I'll also throw Denny Hamlin into the honorable mention category. Like I said, he fell out of the top 10 in points this weekend. Inconsistent start to the year, but I think they'll get on the right track sooner rather than later. Okay, a lot of honorable mentions. Here are the top 10. Number 10, Bubba Wallace. Yes, I know the finishes are not good, but do you know how I know Bubba Wallace has been one of the 10 fastest cars all year? He's got the second most stage points of anyone through the first 5 races. Earned the second most stage points at Las Vegas this last weekend. Got caught up in that restart wreck. Was not his fault. Without that issue, easily top 10 day, maybe a top 5 day. Bubba Wallace at number 10. Not a lot of flash, but a whole lot of substance for Chris Buescher in the 9th spot. 9th in points, 3 top 10s on the year, decent run at Las Vegas. I just want to see him lead more laps, earn more stage points, be good, execute for an entire race. Considering Buescher missed the playoffs last season, I think they're off to a respectable start to 2025. At number 8, I've got Chase Elliott. I am starving, famished for something more. Once again, at Las Vegas, Elliott had a good, not great race. Earned stage points early, but a pit road speeding penalty put them behind. Tried some strategy to regain track position, ultimately settled for a solid 10th place finish. Good, not great. I thought that dominant performance at Bowman Gray a few weeks ago was a sign of a resurgence, but clearly this team still has more work to do. I've still got Alex Bowman at number 7, one of only 2 drivers to have 4 top 10 finishes this year. The other guy is William Byron, the points leader. Now, Bowman doesn't have the laps led or the win that Byron has, but he's proven to be resilient. I mean, look at Las Vegas. Loose wheel, had to pit under green to fix a vibration, lost a lap, but still rallied to finish 7th. Lucky number 7 for Alex Bowman. I thought about dropping Tyler Reddick behind the Hendrick guys, or at least behind Bowman, but there are a couple reasons why I couldn't. One, Tyler Reddick is still 3rd in points. Couple of podium finishes already. He's earned the 6th most stage points. And 2, we're headed to Homestead Miami Speedway this weekend. Reddick is the defending race winner. He has 4 top 5 finishes in 5 career starts there. Yeah, Tyler Reddick pretty good at Homestead. I'd feel pretty foolish to drop him far down this list only for him to potentially win here in 6 days. In case you're new to the power rankings, this is how I always do it. It's largely based on your recent performance, but it's also based somewhat on future speculation, especially over the next couple of weeks. Tyler Reddick going to one of his best tracks helps his ranking out at least a little bit. Reddick at 6. Let's get to the top 5. From honorable mention last week to a top 5 position this week, how about Josh Berry? We don't think of Josh Berry as a great super speedway racer, but he won a stage early this year, led over 50 laps at Atlanta. Pretty good. He's not a great road course racer. Let's take Coda out. The last 2 weeks, the first 2 traditional intermediate type ovals of the season, he's qualified 4th and 7th and finished 4th and 1st. That bodes really well for the rest of this season, or at least the rest of this spring, with tracks like Homestead, Martinsville, Darlington, Texas, Charlotte coming up. The 21 team has been competitive. Matt DiBenedetto got them in the playoffs on points a few years ago. A few years before that, Ryan Blaney got this team into the round of 8. The potential has been there, but finally, they have the right driver, the right crew chief, the right people in place. This team could go on a hell of a run this season. Number 4, maybe I'm seeing something in Ryan Blaney that no one else is. Maybe I'm still blinded by his impressive 2023 and 2024 playoff runs, but in the last 2 weeks, Ryan Blaney had a top 5, top 10 car, and an engine failure and a restart wreck took him out. He was so good at Vegas this week and passed so many cars, started at the rear, worked his way up to the top 5, when an issue on pit road sent him to the back, had to pass his way through the field again. The speed is there. I think the driver is extremely confident. Eventually, they'll have a clean race and finish top 5 where they usually run. I still have Ryan Blaney in the 4 spot. And again, looking ahead, Homestead, Martinsville, great tracks for Ryan Blaney. He won at Martinsville just a few months ago. Number 3, Kyle Larson. He is the only Cup Series driver with multiple stage wins so far this year. And in my opinion, he was the best car on Sunday for at least 2/3 of the race. Larson earned the most stage points. He and his teammate William Byron had the best average running position. Once pit strategy pinned him mid-pack, the handling seemed to go away, but he still drove his way to a 9th place finish. We head to Homestead this coming weekend. 3rd for Kyle Larson. Top 2, same names, couple of different positions. Call me crazy, but I've got Christopher Bell. Yes, I know, Mr. 3 in a row himself, at number 2. Really, I feel like I need a 1A and 1B this week, but I'm not gonna bend the rules. Bell at 2. You'll notice this is the only Joe Gibbs Racing car I have in the top 10. JGR qualified bad, executed bad, and finished bad at Las Vegas this past weekend. Across the board, Christopher Bell in 12th was carrying the banner. I'm not too worried about JGR overall. I mean, once Hamlin and Briscoe overcame their pit road issues, they seemed to have decent speed. But Sunday was all about Hendrick and, of course, Team Penske. Didn't hear much from Christopher Bell or Joe Gibbs Racing. I know Bell has the 3 wins. He's been the talk of the town, but at number 1, William Byron is the points leader. He's earned more than double the stage points of Christopher Bell, most in the series. They've scored the same number of top 5s, led roughly the same amount of laps, but Byron has an additional top 10 finish. Like I said earlier, Byron is tied for the most top 10s in Cup this season. Bell and Byron, again, you could say 1A, 1B. They are neck and neck right now, really, really fast. But the Gibbs cars did not execute well at Las Vegas. All 4 of them had at least one pit road issue each. Gotta tighten things up over there. That's why I have William Byron in the number 1 position. There's my top 10 this week. Gosh, Josh Berry in the top 5. Is it too much? Is it too much too soon? 4th at Phoenix, 1st at Vegas? I don't think so. I'm excited to see how they back that up at Homestead this weekend. If he goes top 5, top 10 once again, woohoo, watch out. Remember, that car comes out of the Penske shop. Just saying. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below if you agree with my rankings. Good times, fun show. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more NASCAR news, content, and commentary every single day. And a big thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters who go above and beyond to support what we do on the show. Working on a lot this week. You'll see some familiar names, some new faces in the coming days. Looking forward to sharing that with y'all. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great rest of your Monday.